it, Sarah. All day. Hell yeah.
Arm wrestling's about to take place.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. Paul Italia here. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're feeling this content, smash that like button. With that being said, I'd like to introduce today's guest. He's got a very big super match coming up this weekend. He's going to Istanbul, Turkey for the big event, East versus West. He's going to be pulling Zurab from Georgia. Welcome, Jonathan Breda. How are you, brother?
What's up, Paul? How's it going, man?
Doing great, brother. So I know you got a big match coming up this weekend, and I know you're preparing and training very hard. So can you just give us a little background on what you expect?
I mean, I can tell you this: I am the strongest I have ever been, and with me only being 4 or 5 years into the sport, I mean, I still have a long ways to go. But I mean, my training numbers now compared to what they used to be is just astronomical. It's got me tickled how strong I am right now. It's like, it's pretty ridiculous. It's like, I'm feeling pretty good, and I'm as healthy as I've ever been too. It's crazy. I'm looking forward to this match for sure.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, brother, because you definitely got a challenge ahead of you. So I just wanted to kind of get a little background of your history and your entrance into arm wrestling. I know you just said you have been pulling 4 or 5 years. How did you first start?
Well, so I'm sure you're familiar with Game of Arms. When I first moved down here back in 2014, I became acquainted with Turbo, also known, his real name is Josh Burrow. He was, on the show for the Baton Rouge Roughnecks, and kind of the clown per se. He's a funny dude. I worked security for him for a couple years, and never really got into the arm wrestling part, but I knew he arm wrestled, and through him I became acquainted with Chop Bertrand, and so needless to say, we were always around each other, but I never decided I really wanted to dabble in the whole arm wrestling stuff, right? Just because where I grew up in the state of Iowa, this arm wrestling is not even heard of. You know what I mean? It's like, nah, I'm good. You know what I mean? So, well, one thing leads to another. Some real life stuff happens. I meet my wife, have a baby, leave the bar scene, get a big boy job, and decide, I want to hang out with my boys again. And they said, "Oh, Louisiana State's coming up. You should come hang out and pull the tournament. You could pull amateurs." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'll go and check it out." And I entered in the amateur class, and I won both arm. Oh, I won first and left arm, and then I got third right-handed. And man, after that, the rest is history, man. I got serious. I got with Chop, and me, him, Derek Simmons just went at it, and I couldn't get enough of it, man.
So give me an idea, around what year was that first tournament that you entered?
2017, May of 2017. That was my first dabble into the arm wrestling world.
Now, before that, did you play sports? Did you have maybe like a construction kind of job? Like, what made you so good right off the bat that you won the tournament?
Well, so I think a lot of that comes from my background in baseball. I pitched for 10 years, and mainly because, every baseball team wants a decent, I mean, you don't have to be great, but I mean, if you just have someone a left-handed pitcher that can throw pretty accurately, you're probably going to end up pitching, and that was me. And I threw a pretty nasty breaking ball and the way it'd be so nasty is like, I'd literally just whip my elbow. And I think from all the curveballs I threw over the years, it just built up that strong connective tissue. And I've always had strong wrists and whatnot, so I think that's what generally got me the head start in the game, especially left-handed. Yes, baseball.
That's pretty impressive. I also know Travis Bajan. He also was a pitcher. And I've always asked him, I was like, do you believe that helped you become such a great arm wrestler? Because, you know, you develop all that fast twitch muscles with that explosive power of pitching. So, you know, that's maybe a good possibility of what gave you that natural ability from the beginning with arm wrestling.
Oh, absolutely. And along with that too, I mean, there's some, I mean, I was a four sport athlete. I mean, I did football, I did baseball, did wrestling, did track. Plus I also, you know, I worked on a farm in the summertime and threw hay bales around all summer. So, yep. It's typical Midwest kid stuff. That's what I did.
So when you linked up with Chop and all after your Louisiana State first tournament, how long was it until you got into like a regular, consistent practices every week and all that? Right away?
Immediately, as soon as as soon as I got done with Louisiana State, I got with Chop. I was like, man, I want to do this regularly. And once a week, I went to his house, and you know, I did as much training, arm wrestling specific training as I could on my own. But I did table practice once a week. Yeah, immediately. And I set a goal. I planned a year from Louisiana State. I planned to pull pro. My goal was to be top 3 at Louisiana State in my second year. And yeah, I got second in super heavyweights, left-handed, my second year. So
Very impressive, brother. Very impressive.
yep.
So
Yep. Go ahead.
if you had to pick one arm wrestler that you could so to say that kind of inspired you, who would that person be for you?
Probably Herman Stevens. Definitely.
You train with Herman on a regular basis?
Yeah, we train quite a bit. I mean, pretty regular. When our schedules align, sometimes they don't. I obviously pull a lot more than Herman does. And ever since we've had a few natural disasters down here with hurricanes and whatnot, that's put, him in a bind as far as the training aspect goes. He has several businesses that, he's got to deal with, and he's still dealing with 2 years later. But yes, that's usually my go-to guy that I go to get my table time with and get most of my training in with. And then I got a few guys in Beaumont like Caleb Bricks and Cody Haga that I pull with on a regular basis. I've been pulling more with them. And yeah, Herman's just one of those guys, man. I've never, don't get me wrong. I'm a pretty genetically gifted individual, I'd say, when it comes to this sport. I mean, like I said, my wrists are, I've started pretty good left-handed in the sport from my first pro tournament. I mean, it was very rare I didn't get top 3 at every single pro tournament I pulled in once I started pulling pro. But what I always liked about the sport is, genetics don't necessarily mean everything in this sport. I mean, if you just put in the work, I mean, it goes a long way. And Herman's just living proof that, you just put in the work. I mean, you could be one of the baddest dudes in this sport. And that's what really, I aspire to be like that.
So with your training and everything, what would you say you focus more on? Is it more arm wrestling specific training, or are you more of like a gym rat, more into the bodybuilding part? What does your training look like these days?
It's definitely 50-50. I believe that you need both. Definitely you need there's nothing that imitates, just good genuine arm wrestling table time. I mean, if you're one of those guys that thinks you know everything and don't need to be pulling on a table all the time. Well, that's honestly, I think that's when you start to decline and, start to lose focus on your goals. But whatever. Needless to say, I think you need a mixture of both, because just the general fitness aspect, right? I mean, think about it like this. What's the first thing to go when your muscles are done? I mean, it goes to your tendons and ligaments, right? So like if your muscles aren't conditioned for this sport, I mean, I feel like you're more susceptible to injury if you're not just a general fitness person. You know what I mean? I mean, I could throw out a few examples, but I don't really want to hurt anybody's feelings. But I mean, there's been a few guys I've seen get hurt in this sport, and it's like, man, it's like if you just go to the gym like 2 or 3 times a week, just work on your general health and fitness, I mean, you probably wouldn't have had that injury. That's just me, but that's my opinion.
Well, then you got the other extreme, like you got me, where I'm hitting 2, 3 times a day in the gym, and I end up popping my both arms because of overtraining. So you kind of got to find that middle balance in between both.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, overtraining is definitely a thing, especially, if, yeah, you got to listen to your body, even though, like, arm wrestling is definitely not like bodybuilding. You can't just keep pushing those tendons and ligaments until you can keep pushing the muscles, but them tendons and ligaments, when they want to go, you better just settle down.
Totally agree with that. So I just wanted to find out, so how did this match actually come about? Did you get a phone call from Engin? How did it all work out?
Well, so as everyone knows, me and Herman are pretty tight individuals when it comes to arm wrestling and outside of the sport. And he's affiliated with Engin, and he helped basically start the East versus West saga, as if you will. And I had a good showing at Texas State in October. Pulled 3 weight classes, just blew through everybody. Had a super match with Doug Allen that day, beat him. And then a week later, I went to that Mr. Olympia event. And, I mean, basically the highlight of the day was just putting the brakes on Marcio Barbosa. And, that was, even though he beat me, it just to know that my arm was there. And there's a few things that I wonder, like, what if I didn't pull a tournament the week before and pulled over 20 matches? You know what I mean? But it's woulda, coulda, shoulda. But still, I mean, just to feel that, like, okay, so I'm not that far off. And Marcio is a pretty bad dude, left-handed, and Aaron was talking about that there was plans for a second card for this East versus West, and I was just like, man, give me FA. I was like, I watched FA just blow through him. I was like, I think I could take FA. Like, give me FA. Just throw it out there. It's like, if Engin's not interested, hey, whatever. Just tell Engin I'll pay my whole way, whatever need done. Like, I'll take care of it. I just want the opportunity. That's it. Give me the opportunity. I'll do it. And so I guess, Herman put in a word to Josh Grant and, Engin, and I guess there's a board of people that kind of made the decisions on certain matches and whatnot. And, yeah, next thing you know, I keep checking up with Herman every so often. And, he's just like, well, FA is just not going to happen. It's just, he thinks that it's going to be a pretty, it won't be an entertaining match. And I was like, oh, okay. So he thinks he's just going to crush me. He's like, oh, no, not necessarily that. It's like, he just thinks it's either going to be he top rolls, he really easy with that. So FA was off the table, right? And he's like, no, but we were interested in seeing if maybe if Zurab would pull you left-handed. I was like, sure, whatever. Who is he? He's like, oh, he just won worlds at like 85 kilos or something like that. I was like, yeah, why not? Let's do it. And yeah, next thing you know, that was mentioned to me around, I want to say, the beginning of December. And a week later, I see a post, Jonathan Breda versus Zurab. I can't even begin to think how to say his last name. And I was like, oh, so I guess I'm going to Turkey. Cool. So I need to get my passport, and yeah, that's how that happened.
So, John, I wanted to know, just for all my subscribers out there, I know you're top ranked in North America with the left arm. What number do you lay in the rank system for the 220 class?
I am number 2 in North America, left-handed, at 220. I believe in the U.S., the arm fighter rankings, I believe I'm 3rd or 4th. I can't remember. Somewhere.
And, who are you number 2 behind? Just so I know who number 1 is.
Daniel Worley.
Anyway, out of Florida.
Yep.
Okay. Now, now with Zurab, how much does he weigh these days? Do you know what? Is there a weight cap or anything set for this match?
Yep. We both basically. He said they set the weight cap at 100 kilograms because that's what they know me to weigh at these days. And well, I wanted to make sure, like, I messaged Engin, is like, hey, how much is he going to weigh? Because I want to weigh the same exact thing he is. And he said, oh, no, he says you can weigh whatever you want. I'm like, no, what is he going to weigh? So basically, from what I understand, he's going to be 100 kilograms to 102 kilograms. So that's where I'm going to be, 100 to 102. So I guess, what's that? 220 to 225. That's the goal number. So, yep, I don't want any excuses. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to weigh 20 pounds more than him and beat him, and then it be, well, you're 20 pounds more than him. I'm not going to deal with that. So we're going to meet at 220, 225, whichever. And yep, that'll be it.
So I got to tell you this, Jonathan. I did a little interview with Engin yesterday, and we brought up your guys' match. And Engin was just telling me that he was saying that Zurab was taking Ron Bath match that he has with him, right hand, very seriously, but really wasn't taking it as seriously the left hand match with you. He thought it was going to be a pretty easy day for him. So I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, that's very unfortunate, because it'll be a very embarrassing day for him if that's the case. Because I mean, yeah, he's a European, and Europeans are very impressive compared to the U.S. guys. There's no doubt about it. But I mean, I'm not impressed with an 85 kilogram world champion. He's not a 100 kilogram world champion. At the end of the day, I mean, okay, you were really good at 176 pounds. You haven't pulled at 100 kilograms yet. So, I mean, honestly, I don't know why I'm taking him seriously, is really the question. Because to me, he's a 176 guy that's trying to be a 220 pound guy. And man, I don't know how that's going to work out for him. We'll see.
Well, we will find out on Saturday. So I just wanted to kind of find out, when are you leaving, and when does this big journey start for you?
So tomorrow, fly out of Houston at 8:40, and I should arrive. It'll be a direct flight straight to Istanbul, and we should arrive at 5:30 in the afternoon.
Wow. So how long of a flight is that?
11 hours and 40 minutes.
Okay. Now, do you have any plans of far as nutrition, or how you're gonna, acclimate yourself to when you land in Turkey?
Yeah, so right now I found that's what's best for my body is usually 10 to 14 days out. I like to stay around the 2,000, 1,500 calorie mark, as far as be a little bit calorie deficient, because it helps get rid of a lot of inflammation in my body. And, just ultimately, I just feel like I get a lot cleaner energy from that. And so basically, yeah, I'll stay around, I'm sitting around 228 right now, and I'll stay calorie deficient. It depends. I mean, my goal is to be at least 225 Friday morning, and then I'll do like a hot bath or something, do a nice little water cut. And then, I don't really focus too much exactly on per se what I'm eating. I mean, I usually it's like what I do now to give myself a little bit of freedom. Like I'll have one meal, whatever I want. That's at noon. I'll eat a, a big, decent sized meal, whatever I want. Doesn't matter what it is. And then the rest of the day, it's just like boiled eggs. Usually, like somewhere between 4 to 6 boiled eggs, 2 egg yolks out of mainly egg whites, but 2 of those I'll eat a whole boiled egg, and that's basically all I do 14 days out. And yeah, I feel great. That's what I do.
Now, when do you shut down? Have you already shut down your training, or you still continue until you leave?
I shut down my training Wednesday. That's last Wednesday. So I take usually 14 days off. My last arm wrestling training is 14 days on the table, and then weightlifting is weightlifting and everything. I take 10 full days off.
Nice. So I know you're excited about this whole big East versus West card. We got 16 mega top quality super matches organized by Engin Terzi. So other than your match, what other match on this card most excites you?
I'm pretty excited about the Oleg versus what's his name? Bekele, right? Bekele. Yes, that bad two badass left arm dudes. I'm really honestly I'm just a big Oleg fan. Obviously, I mean, I'm left hand dominant. You know, he's like at one point, I mean, you know, probably arguably a couple years ago, he was probably the baddest left-hander on the planet. You know, between him and Dennis, I'm sure it was pretty close if they had a match. But yeah, I'm really honestly, I'm on that Oleg kick. I'd like to see him come back healthy and strong. I'd like to see him, you know, bounce back, especially after that travesty that he went through. You know what I mean? That's just awful. And you know, like I said, a big Oleg fan. I'm very interested in that match. And as far as the other matches goes, I'd like to. I'm pretty interested in the Morozov
Tobias. Okay.
Yep. I like Prudnik as well. I watch a lot of Prudnik. So yeah, I'm pretty interested. I'd like to see Prudnik win that one.
And I just want to ask your prediction on the main event. We got the GOAT, John Brzenk, pulling Zolov. So I kind of just wanted your thoughts on that one.
I genuinely think that John just takes it. Yeah, I mean, so there's been a lot of question about John's hand and wrist and endurance, right, over the last couple months. I mean, stylistically, man, like look at the people he's getting matched up against. I mean, yeah, I mean, he's known for doing this stuff in the past, taking anybody's hand that he wants to take, and you know that's the past. I mean, you got to think about it like this: he's going against a guy. It's pretty much same stature, probably has the bigger hand now for a change, and you know he's got a genetic advantage now, and I mean, Zolov's so dead set on top rolling this man. I think that it's not going to happen. There's just no way. I think John just cracks his wrist back and pulls him on over. The only way I see it being close if Zolov tries to turn into a hook, which I don't see him. I'm guessing that last WAF tournament he did, I'm pretty sure he messed up his elbow or something, and I'm guessing he's going to try to avoid hooking at all costs. So I just don't see it being a real good matchup. I think John takes that.
Do you believe for John to win that he has to bring it to the strap, or he's going to win no matter what?
I think he can do it however he wants to do it. I think it'll end up straps. I think that Zolov's going to try to hold on, but I think John's just going to stay dead center of the table. It's just contrast of styles. I think it's just going to go strap regardless.
And I just wanted to ask you your thoughts on this. Is the match between Monster Michael Todd and Gennady? We know they're both coming off pretty big losses, and we both know that they got to get this win. Do you think Monster Michael Todd did the preparation needed to come in and get this win against Gennady?
Absolutely. I mean, I just think, stylistically, it's just a bad matchup for Gennady in general. I mean, and I'm sure it's the same analysis that you've heard from several different people, but it's the truth. His last match versus Hermes, Gennady used to have a really, really strong press that he could transition to very, very fluently. And he didn't even try to commit his shoulder. I don't believe he tried to commit his shoulder one time against Hermes. He just tried to drag. And it's clear that's, not a part of his tool belt anymore. And if you don't have that, then you're not touching Michael, I don't think. And I mean, I think Michael just wears him out after round one. I mean, and that's it. I don't see it being a real match. I don't see it being a real good match. I think it's pretty much going to go how most people think it's going to go. It's going to be Michael's going to King's move and, take his hand and bleed him out and pin him 3 times in a row.
So, John, do you believe that the West is going to have a much better showing this time and get a few wins on this card?
I do. I genuinely do. With that being said, I think that, it's definitely, I guess it makes things easier that a few guys kind of backed out, right? But I would say that, what is there, like 5 matches now, East versus West?
I'm not sure the exact number, but I believe it's somewhere around there. We got 4 or 5 matches.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that the chances are a lot higher this go around, for sure.
I want to wish you the best of luck this weekend. I hope you do great and represent us like I know you're gonna in an amazing fashion. And is there any other last words you'd like to say before we call it a night?
Yeah. Zurab, if you're watching this, you didn't do enough. And I'm coming for you.